I'm going to kick off. Thanks so much. It's like, honestly feels like an honor for so many of you to be here and showing up to listen to me today. And today we're going to be talking about performance and how to take the stress, uncertainty, unpredictability, the frustration, and sometimes even the disappointment out of the entire process of driving team and organizational performance. And we're going to be discussing the 5 steps needed to build high performing teams and organizations. Honestly, we've all been there. And the truth is that most of us are trying our best, but figuring out people can feel like knitting fog sometimes. You think you have a plan, you try it, it feels good for a short time, but it turns out that, it's actually quite hard to get traction and to drive the change you need. And we often think the answer lies in training. And this is where you can kind of both be right and wrong all at the same time, because training alone doesn't work. And so I'm here not only to transform your thinking, but of course, show you what you can do if you're wanting to raise the bar, by showing you what you need to do if you want to drive performance. You want those soft skills, but you also want the hard results, and you also want to win. So today, I want you to get your notepads out. This session is going to take you through exactly the approach that's helping my clients win and get the results they're looking for. And I'll be covering a lot here today. So look, I've literally built this presentation on the back of everything that frustrated me over an extensive career in senior leadership roles, and based on the work that I now do with clients. So everything I'm sharing has been based on learnings. And I'm learning all the time, right? And this is being updated. I update this presentation all the time and roll in my latest learning into this this slide deck. So just out of interest, just let me know who here is currently investing in developing their people, their leaders, their teams, culture, or who is planning to. I often find that businesses are at different stages. So either drop me an investing or planning into the chat. A lot of the time we get people that are already spending some money and kind of are trying to figure out if there's a better way, maybe, or we get people that actually know they need to do the work, but just want to kind of figure out how do they maybe do it in a way that's going to get them some results. So fantastic. Looks like we've got a bit of a mixed bag coming in here on that today, so that's great. Whether you're currently investing or whether you're planning to, hopefully the content that I'm going to cover with you today will share with you everything that you need to know. So when I was putting this workshop together, I had the same aims that I have with all the workshops I run, and that is to provide guidance and insight into the exact process you need to follow if you want to transform your approach, help your people get better, develop their skills, drive business outcomes, and so on. But most importantly, deliver those hard results and return on investment from the money your business puts into developing your people. And today is about showing you the path to reduce stress, increase success. I'm going to share with you everything I've learned and applied with my clients that is working in 2024. I'll also be introducing you to what a leadership and team performance unlocked bootcamp is, by sharing with you an approach you can take to help you get started so you can gain complete clarity as to the work you need to do if you want to raise the bar in your business. And of course, I really encourage you to be asking questions in the Q&A. I will try my best to get to them at the end. I've got a lot to cover, or if I don't get to them, honestly, I will go in and I'll follow up with you individually and directly. So please do fire those questions in. Nothing's off limits, and I promise you I'll get back to everybody that raises a question. I'm here to help where I can. So with no further ado, let's dive straight in. So with 25 years hands-on experience working with some of the world's biggest businesses, I've worked directly with literally hundreds of teams and leaders over the years. And I've worked with and spoken with many commercial leaders, CEOs, HR directors, piecing together the challenges that exist and why getting results has been a constant challenge for leaders and businesses. So let's kick off today looking at what we're seeing by sharing with you the 5 reasons why many businesses are not seeing the change they need when they invest in developing their people. So first off, many businesses believe one-time events, away days, team builds, or sending their middle managers on a 6-month ILM leadership development program is the answer. And look, it's no one's fault. We've just become conditioned, I've been there too, to believing this was the answer. Like, developing people is never a one-time activity, yet for a whole host of reasons, we treat it like it is. And the truth is, businesses want change, But what one-time events or series of events or programs create can only often amount to like a fun day out, some networking opportunities, or at best provide some short-lived inspiration or some short-term motivation even before the agenda really quickly switches back to the day job. Like nothing changes. And what they fail to do is create this kind of culture of learning, development, and progressive growth. And when they do develop the people, they're focusing on the wrong people at the wrong time, often only focusing on the top 5% at the expense of creating broader impact. And what this means is many don't get support until way into their leadership career. Like I know I was 10 years into leading teams before I got any formal development. You know, there's too many leaders leading teams feeling unequipped, out of their depth. And even today, a lot of people join my programs and they open up to me and they tell me that it's hard leaving them. Freudian slip there. Tell me it's hard leading teams. And it leaves many leaders feeling unsupported, undervalued, not to mention teams working for leaders that are struggling. And it places the onus solely on the leader and fails to bring up that like base level of standard by better equipping everyone at every level to show up and bring their best. And what many fail to recognize is this opportunity to create a leadership culture throughout an organization. So what we know is that the best way to maximize performance is to build bottom up, that most lack the skills in self-awareness, in self-leadership, in influencing and collaborating with others. And this is one very common theme across a lot of people we speak with, and is the place that a lot of our clients start. And then they're spending a lot of their time, most of the time, poring over what training content or knowledge they believe their people need, or their people need to acquire in order to reach that next level, which often leads to too much theory and not enough practical application. The challenges that I see are too much theory, attendees struggling to recall what they've learned, maybe a bit of a focus on outdated learning methods, I'm going to come on to that, and the inability to actually translate what they've learned into some impact or change on the ground, all of which leads to disappointment. And then there's the elephant in the room, but obviously not in this room, because this is why you're here. And that is that not enough, this is one of the things that, like, just honestly, not enough people are challenging. And that is the lack of clear, measurable outcomes or ability to hold leaders to account for taking action. It's almost like positive attendee feedback has become the benchmark for success when investing in developing people or in developing culture. So businesses are battling on with no clear outcomes, no measurement, no accountability, and a lack of demonstrable positive impact on the business. And in the businesses I talk to, it kind of becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy. When you don't have these in place, commitment decreases, and even worse, the investment gets axed, even though they know they need to be developing their people. I call it the leadership doom loop, and I see it everywhere. And then, of course, there's a lack of sustainability. So businesses get stuck in this loop of relying on high-ticket external consultants. Now, I know that might sound counterintuitive, because that's partly why I'm here today. But the reality for many is there's a lack of long-term goals. There's no structured way of keeping the training alive. They become reliant on this rinse and repeat cycle of training, like failing to embed the work they do into business as usual processes, with no plan to create a culture where leaders feel like sufficiently empowered to motivate and drive their own team culture and performance, and no plan to build sustainability so that you can go from being in a place of high support, using external providers, to self-support, becoming largely self-sufficient. So those are the 5 reasons why businesses are willing to raise the bar. Whether there's a problem that needs solving, or you're an organization wanting to go from good to great, the challenges are exactly the same. And it's why so many who are responsible feel stressed and are left feeling that whichever choice they make, it doesn't really make the difference they need. So with that being said, there should be at least one of these things that relates to you more than others. So I'd love to know, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, which one of these do you most connect with? Which one do you feel is holding you back, your business back, the most when it comes to getting outcomes you want? So please do take part. drop a number into the chat, and let's see where everyone's at today. So I can see we've got lots of 2s, 4s. Yeah, 4s are definitely that's why you're here, right? So clear outcomes, measures, and accountability, and some 5s as well. And so, you know, obviously we're going to be covering a lot of this stuff today, and these areas are where we're going to be spending our time. So how do we transform our approach and get results and raise team and organizational performance in 2024 and beyond? So the world has changed. We've got to change. Business is tough, and your people are key to performance. And so the work we've been doing over the past few years has helped shape some clarity around how to create change, to finally create a breakthrough and start getting the results you need from your investment in developing your people. I call it the transformation equation. It breaks down the 5 steps to success, exactly what's needed to develop the skills you need, as well as achieving the measurable outcomes we should all expect and we should all be demanding of ourselves and of our people. So I'm going to be sharing everything you need to know to take you from training to transformation. We'll be covering clarity, content, change, how to build a strategic and how to build a sustainable solution, all with the goal of going from high support to self-support by reducing reliance on external providers. So this is the framework I use to really help clients break out of this cycle of doom and start to get the results they're looking for. And this is what we're going to be covering today. So who am I? Now, I'm not going to bore you with a half-hour spiel. You're not here to find out about me. You're here to find out about what's getting in the way of transforming your results and your outcomes. But the thing to know is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm Jules Eustace. I'm the creator of Unlock Teams. I'm a partner and certified coach and consultant with US-based leadership and team performance experts, Giant Worldwide. I combine my expertise in change and transformation with world-class leadership and team performance coaching that gets measurable results. And the work I do today really is against a backdrop of over 20 years as a senior change and transformation. It keeps fluctuating, actually, 20 or 25 years, depending on how young I want to seem. So yeah, let's go 20, 25 years as a senior change and transformation leader, like working for businesses such as Asda, IKEA, Co-op, Holland & Barrett. I was employed until 2014 when I went it alone and set up my own consulting business. I've also been a women in business mentor with Santander for the past 4 years. I've led huge teams to drive change that has resulted in like billions in incremental revenue in large complex organizations, and experienced the many but real challenges on the ground. And I promise you, it's all been warts and all. And having led large scale customer change for over 20 years, I learned a thing or two about leadership and performance in some very challenging environments. I experienced some amazing, as well as some like goddamn awful leaders. But ultimately, I got sick of the politics, positioning, arguing, infighting, and especially how the work environment made me feel. Like wherever I went, it felt like it was same nonsense, different logo over the door. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's true. So I set out to solve the problem. I genuinely believe most people are good people, but so much gets in the way of businesses delivering to their potential. So I set about bringing my skills as a change leader to help solve the real problem rather than simply becoming like another training provider. Like, honestly, there's some great training out there, but I'd say there's not enough focus on helping create change. And so, yeah, I am, if you hadn't guessed, I'm totally passionate about the work I do. I believe we need better skills. I believe businesses need better outcomes. I recognise firsthand the struggles to justify investment when faced with the challenges of a business environment that simply wants results. And what I'm doing here is just sharing with you what my own experience has shown, as well as what's working right now that's helping clients get the results they're looking for. I'm here to champion change, and I'm here to help you do the same. And the reason I show up like this for free is that some of you may decide at some point down the line that you might like some help or guidance to help you get you pointing in the right direction. And you might at some point decide to come and work with me. Now, I'm not selling anything here today. It's in the interest of transparency. There's no big sales pitch, but right at the end, I will share with you how you can start your journey, and there will be a chance to have a conversation to discuss the challenges specifically within your business and to see if I can help further. That's it. So, however, there is more than enough for you here today to be able to take it away, understand and take away what you need to do differently if you want to break that cycle and start to see better results, some hard results from your investment in developing your people, and start to see a shift. So why does this matter? Tell me in the chat, why are you here? Why does this matter to you? And whilst you do, let's just get into the meat of it. If you hadn't guessed, I'm obsessed about results. I'm totally results focused, and you should be too, right? You must be. That's why you're here. But before we get started, let's just ask ourselves for a minute why this stuff matters in 2024. Why soft skills? Why hard results? So let me take a quick look at the chat. So yeah, a few things coming through. So Angela, you know you need to invest, and it's just painful never feeling you can offer any tangible outcomes. It's like we've become to expect it as a norm, right? And then yeah, Simon says, yeah, it's all about the money, return, results. And Siobhan, yeah, we know sustainable business growth is built on great people, teams and culture, but getting started is a minefield, and we can't afford to waste time and money. So lots more on a similar theme. I'm sorry I can't get to them all, but yeah. So what I'm seeing is exactly that. So many businesses wasting time and money. It's the definition of madness. They're not turning the dial. They're relying on one-time events. The content has minimal retention, even less application. And deep down, they know it's hard. And for many, they feel like they're wasting their time. And even worse than wasting time, they feel like they're wasting money. Most business leaders tell me they're under pressure for ROI. They're finding it really hard to point to any metrics that demonstrate results or hold people to account for results. And at best, they rely on participant feedback to validate a job well done. Investment has to be about driving change. Yeah, so many businesses are not leading with a change management mindset, are not doing this work with a change management mindset. And of course, this means that your people are suffering. There has been a seismic shift in expectation. There's never been such a big spotlight on leaders and their performance. The leadership landscape's never been more complex. It's like leaders are trying to be everything to everyone, and it isn't working because they're not equipped. Like, tell me, how long have you been in a leadership role? Like, the truth is, we're all working it out, right? Even after 20 years, I'm driving home in my car thinking, oh my God, like, how am I going to figure this out? Leaders and teams are suffering on so many levels in silence. We're starting out too late. We're missing out on those early key stages of development, whether it's self-leadership, delivering through others. And that's even before people get to lead teams. And that's when they find themselves in roles, inadequately equipped and struggling. And for first-time leaders, it's even worse, like transitioning from being a high-performing SME into a leader and trying to hide the struggles they're experiencing. It's bonkers. Look, times have changed, attitudes to work have changed, people are struggling, whether you see it or not, and this has a cost. So yes, when your people suffer, so does your business. Your people resources are one of your biggest costs to your business. And when you don't get the best from your people, it will always impact performance. It might not be visible, but it's always there. Like ineffective leadership drives suboptimal performance. It will always impact productivity, efficiency, and the ability to achieve your we've all got ambitious business goals, right? Always. So without the right type of development, businesses end up with this talent drain. They fail to create this strong talent pipeline, fail to build a leadership development culture that helps you keep people, build capability, create that environment where you get to unlock discretional effort, which is often what's needed in order to drive growth in incredibly competitive marketplaces. So with that said, a little sip of water. And so I hope that provides just a little bit of context into why what I'm seeing is leading to a need for change. Like, people, we're messy things, right? Does that all make sense so far? Just drop me a yes in the chat. I was going to try and be brave and ask you, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, does it all make sense so far? But anyway, you can choose to tell me if you want. But look, now back to it. All of this might sound tough, and it is, but I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you the truth of exactly what it takes. You want growth, you want results, so let's get into how. Okay, so I'm going to kick off with part 1. You have to get back to basics and focus on the fundamentals that are needed to drive growth. Before you do anything else, this is where we have to start. And it's right here that many of the businesses I speak with and we work with, before we start working with them, are currently failing. When it comes to getting back to basics, there are 3 big things that we spend a lot of time on with every customer we work with. And it's how to set themselves up for success in creating hard results from their investment. And there are 3 things typically getting in the way. 1 is a lack of clarity. They don't really have a grip on where they are today, so they don't have the analysis or the data needed to point them in the right direction and make sure they focus where it matters most. Secondly, they aren't scrutinizing content in the right way. So most content on most programs sounds really great, by the way, but the key is always to ask yourself, how is this going to be applied in real practical terms? i.e., what are we actually going to go away and do? And thirdly, they aren't considering how to make change land. So what are the processes and the support that's needed to increase our chances of succeeding? So I'm going to take you through each of these 3 areas. So when it comes to creating clarity, this is what we're seeing. Most businesses have an absence of data, so they're relying on either what people say they need, or they're basing their plan on subjectively what line managers say their people need. And in reality, most leaders don't really know. Their input is based on anecdotal feedback. And a lot of the time is based on our own biases as to what we believe great leadership and team performance really is. And many base it on perhaps what they've done in the past and what they thought was effective. But sadly, it's often based on, I'm going to just say, on outdated views on what maybe used to work, arguably didn't even work then. But anyway, there you go. And so it often leads to the wrong solution for where a business is right now. It leads to generic programs, focusing on the wrong things, the wrong people at the wrong time. And all of this is contributing to the lack of results they hoped for when they invested in developing their people. So if these are the things they're doing, then I'm sure you want to know what they're doing about it. So the businesses who I've worked with who are transforming their results are starting from a point of clarity. They're starting with a really deep understanding of personality and team dynamics. And this business, I'm showing you some real business data here. This business started by doing the detailed work to understand the strengths and challenges, not just at an organizational level, but also at a team level. And this client understood the mistakes they'd made by just focusing on top talent and wanted to drive not only a healthy culture, but one that was focused hard on driving performance. And in order to do so, they recognized their need to include everyone and build a foundational capability, which meant providing the knowledge, tools, and language to drive self-awareness and a greater understanding of each other. Their goal really was to focus on collaboration, on culture and inclusion, on valuing and knowing how to bring out the best in others, as well as ensuring they weren't becoming like a face-fit organization, but one that used the right people with the right skills to make the right decisions across the business. And most often, it's our failure to understand people that leads to most of the challenges that exist in an organization, but one that can be addressed with the right knowledge and doing the right work. And there's possibly like too much to say about this. It's probably a session in its own right, but there will be a chance to find out more about this, which I'm going to be covering later on in the session. But what businesses who are transforming their performance are also doing is they're buying into the use of data, and they're using success frameworks to drive their progress and results. And in order to gather data and measure outcomes, our clients are using high-performing teams frameworks to understand how to unlock capability within their organization. And don't worry about the detail of this too much right now. I'm going to come on to this and go into this in a little bit more detail as we go through. And they're using the frameworks to gather the data and gain a deep understanding of the strengths and opportunities at an organization, at a team level, or even at a sub-team level. And what this gives them is a clarity on the individual challenges that teams are facing, as well as those kind of common challenges that exist across businesses. And doing that actually allows them to focus on what really matters first to everybody, and then over time become more specific and more targeted, supporting where it's really needed. And what it also does is allows them to dive in straight away with some quick wins. And their success now is coming off the back of buying into the use of data and using a success framework to identify where to start, to drive their progress, to create accountability, and use the same data set to track results. And the next thing we need to look at is course content. And what we're seeing over and over again is some great ideas being taught, but not always in ways that are sticky and memorable. So recall, and I guess consequently implementation, can be a problem, which then brings about challenges when participants, people that come along, need to go away and create impact or change on the ground. Like, the way people learn has changed. It's much faster, it's more visual, retention levels are lower, ideas need to be simple, they need to pack a punch, and they need to adapt to modern ways of learning. And not enough course content is translating ideas into practical, actionable, implementable ideas for leaders to use personally, or directors with or directly with their teams, like in one-to-ones, for example. Too much is being left to chance when there are proven models and actions that, when learned and implemented, quite simply get results. So when your people spend time in training sessions, it's about getting crystal clear on what is actually going to change or be done differently as a result of the training session. And what's making the shift for clients right now in 2024 is a shift towards using visual tools. Visual tools are a game changer. Visual tools help, and they do what they say. They help create a toolkit for leaders to use depending on the situation. And it should be a toolkit they build up over time. And what I'm showing you here is a small selection of the tools used in the work we do with clients, simple ideas that help to get the best from people, discover how to become self-aware and understand our impact on others, figure out how to communicate in a way that others understand the real meaning of what we're saying, and how to ensure that your people are performing at their best. And as part of any journey, our focus has to be on equipping people with skills needed to lead effectively in work and in life. And along with visuals comes the introduction of a common language. So support challenge matrix, for example, becomes the tool and language to create high-performing, healthy culture. Know yourself, lead yourself is the language and framework to identify and manage behavioral tendencies. Provisional plan promise is a language to help understand the intent behind someone's communication. And other tools such as 70-30 balance is a tool to help people bring their best. And of course, the action starts from day one. So tools are introduced to go away and use. So you start to see and feel change from day one, which flows nicely into the last of the three areas. So we've covered clarity, we've covered content. And so for the third point on getting back to basics, let's cover our third point, which is change. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess change is something that many leaders hope for, but we're constantly hearing there's often this sense of disappointment that they aren't seeing enough change either after or during the process of developing people. And the truth is that change only happens when people take action, and there's often not enough action. And what we often see is this, that too much gets left to chance. There's often really at the end of sessions no real clear ask of attendees that will result in change. Like, what will they actually go away and do? I mean, tangible stuff on the ground with their team or as a team that will result in some kind of change after each session with clear guidelines, with clear timelines. And of course, an absence of any ask or homework means no follow-up and no lessons learned. Too much is left to chance. Success happens with time, with practice, through implementing, through learning, through sharing, through repeating and going again. And then the truth is that many leaders do get stuck and they need more support through the learning and implementation phase. And this rarely happens. Training sessions alone, with no action, no follow-up, no lessons learned or support, are a key reason why outcomes and change aren't achieved. But what we are really clear on is what works and gets results. The success our clients are achieving, they're achieving it through really clear action plans. They leave every session with absolute clarity as to what they need to do individually and as a team, with timelines and clear guidelines to deliver. They're equipped with the tools needed to do the work, no guesswork, just absolute clarity, and an ability to go away and drive change from day one. Like, there's none of this nonsense. We shouldn't be having any of this nonsense where somebody has to be on a 12-month or 6-month or whatever program for them to actually start doing anything different. You need to start seeing change from your investment from day one. And we've also learned that you can go too quickly, like forcing your way through a program, but not stopping to ensure it makes a difference, is a recipe for disaster. We've learned that, you know, and I've learned this from first-hand experience because I've done it, right? I've done it with clients right in the early days. And we've learned that rotating learning sessions with coaching sessions, providing support, talking through implementation, creating a space specifically for team leaders to share ideas, discuss issues and challenges, and help develop best practice is the way to get traction. It makes a massive difference. And then there's the piece around providing support when people need it. You know, people don't often need the support when they're in the session. Leadership is a journey, and providing access to be able to ask for support and guidance, or for us to be able to provide encouragement or gentle reminders. But more importantly, to be able to provide answers to questions outside of coaching sessions really helps to maintain focus and momentum. So, and we're using different tools to do that, and we figure out what works for our clients. So that's a snapshot of the fundamentals of building strong, healthy foundations, you know, the absolute basics needed to drive results, to drive hard results from your investment. So there's lots of thoughts and comments coming through in the chat. Please share any observations or just what you're seeing in your businesses. Whilst we haven't got a huge amount of time for dialogue today, I'd love to hear your thoughts. All feedback is welcome. I'd love to hear what you're experiencing, and I will promise any questions or any thoughts that you share, I will get back to you at the end, or indeed directly with any questions that you raise. So, okay, we're going to move on and talk about the next stage. But before we do, just a quick recap. You're here because you want results. So here are my top tips to help you get them. So firstly, getting back to basics is key. Focusing only on those at the top is like trying to ice a cake that hasn't yet been baked. And yet it's the approach so many take. The best results are coming from teams and businesses equipping everyone with core skills to set the business up for success. Understand where your organization and your teams are. Create or lean into some kind of success framework and use data. You can then use it to create accountability and drive action. And look, content matters. Make sure training is simple, actionable. You should be able to start seeing results immediately. So much leadership development gets overcomplicated and certainly based on too much theory. And then check implementation. What do people need to do? When? How are they supported? And what mechanisms are in place to help them in real time when they need it? And look, lastly, we need more change makers. Please believe change is possible, and that you can become a catalyst to change by making an impact in the lives of the people you work with at the same time as driving organisational performance. So, a short breather, and we will move into part two. So part two. So we've built strong foundations. The next thing to do is to ensure that we're not all about being here today, gone tomorrow. We've all been there. We've delivered amazing programs or events. And it's a mistake many people are making. Over time, they deliver stuff and the impact of the work they did fizzled out, sometimes within months. That could be 6 months, it could be a year, sometimes it's even less than that. But whatever the time scale, somewhere down the line, we end up back to square one, or not far off being back to square one. So why bother? We have to stop thinking and believing in short-term solutions. They don't work. They're sticking plasters, they're tick box exercises, and it's old school thinking. What we need is to create a long-term sustainable growth in order to get the results we need. That's how you improve performance. That's how you create measurable outcomes and ROI. And so we're going to spend some time looking at the two key shifts that have proved fundamental to getting the results you're here to get. And to do that, you'll need to be both strategic in your approach and be able to build sustainably. And that's how to build lasting results and change. So we're going to go through both of these now. So let's take the first one. So in order to be strategic, you need two things. You need a growth framework. I've mentioned this earlier, but I'm now going to go deeper. It's a key driver. And we also need a continual improvement approach. So a growth framework is about being clear what you're trying to achieve, which starts with understanding high performance. So what creates high-performing teams or organizations and how to achieve it. So when I work with clients, I use a high-performing teams framework. We use it to understand where a team is at any given point in time. We know that every team has the ability to perform to its potential when it performs well in each of 5 key areas: communication, relationships, alignment, execution, and capacity. Yet the average team performs at less than 60% of its potential. And the reason for that is that most teams focus in mainly on alignment and execution. So we focus in on what do we need to do and whether we've done it. Yet the foundation to success is when teams do well with communication and relationships, because that's what builds trust. So the high performing teams framework is what I use for clients. And we start by identifying exactly how teams are doing against this, because then we know where we are, we can see the gaps, but we also have a goal. And the whole idea is it works like a flywheel, and you have to unlock capability in that order. And that growth framework reveals everything we need to know to grow a team or an organization's performance. It allows us to unlock quick wins as well as focus where it really matters. And it also often reveals the difference between teams and shows where the work is needed most, allowing you to become more targeted in your approach over time. And it's based on 72 individual criteria across those 5 areas of high-performing teams. And when you use a growth framework, what you also have is a destination in mind. In this case, unlocking the potential of your people with a measure of how close or not you are to achieving that. And with that in place, you focus on continual improvement, driven by data. And this is real data that tracks real client results. And we track performance, which drives accountability and allows us to measure results. And you get to decide how often you want to track progress. Like when you measure, you recalibrate and you use the data to determine the next best step on your journey. So you get the data, you use the data, you include your people, you agree the next steps and timing. So you see, it's like there's no stop start. It's a journey, but it's one that allows you to start in the right place, focusing on the right things and to build from there. And the great thing is that the journey works in line with your timings and your budgets. You go as fast or slow as you want, or as time allows, or as budget allows. But the key always is to keep going. Our goal is always to create is about building a leadership culture where, and what I mean by that is one where people are focused on self-leadership. Level 1 of all leadership, self-leadership, leading others indirectly. So learning how to get the best out of others before you even become a manager. Most of us, you know, actually get our work done through people that don't report to us directly anyway. So it makes total sense. Leading teams, and then, you know, progressively through to leading leaders, creating future leaders, and even leading organizations. So using data, you focus on the right things at the right time with the right people. You get to do the soft stuff, but with the hard results. Think of it as like an agile, iterative approach to individual, team, and organizational growth, with the ability to check in, see how you're doing, measure progress, and always focus on your next best step. And it's different for every team. Here's the thing, right? So every team has a different start point. They put in different amounts of effort. They get different outcomes. But here are a whole set of client examples. These teams focused on, most businesses I work with do start with the foundational work. And these teams here all focus on establishing strong foundations. They use the team performance framework, and they went deep in on communication, relationships, and building trust. And yes, by doing that, without even doing the work on all the other stuff, they turned the dial on all the other areas. So once you strengthen communication, you build relationships, you strengthen trust, then alignment gets so much easier. When alignment's easier, execution gets so much easier. And then ultimately the goal is to unlock capability when it comes to capacity, and capacity is all about the future facing stuff. It's like, I've got everything in control. I've got the capacity to think ahead, to innovate, to be strategic, to coach my people, to develop my people, to succession plan. So it works. Like when they put in the work, it works, and it works for teams and team leaders who put in the effort. There are no shortcuts. So I told you there were two things essential to success: strategy and sustainability. Now let's have a quick look at sustainability. We're looking for long-term cost efficiency, sustainability, growth, and hard results. And there are two areas to focus on in order to achieve this: building internal capability and becoming self-directed. So getting to a place where you largely become self-supported. So building internal capability means you have to make that shift from external support and repetition of the same programs by external providers to identifying and building a team of internal champions. Like, depending on the size of your business, you can start with 1 or 2 people, but when you look at the business case, it makes total sense. We introduce what we call catalysts. Catalysts are internal team members who could become accredited to deliver some of our programs, but who understand the system and processes and drive it from the inside. When you then support them with online systems to support, refresh, or even provide content as the basis for induction programs, you can create repeatable solutions that make it simple and effective for you to bring new starters up to speed, and support the basics, while any investment that you then make is not on repeating the same old stuff over and over again. It's on getting to that next level of progression where you need it most, rather than repeating the same old stuff year after year, and at best staying in the same place. And then the ultimate goal for any organization is to become self-directed. Like, this is just the kind of utopia, isn't it? To equip leaders with the tools to identify and work on their own gaps, give them the access to their own analysis, establish their current baseline, work with their team to support where needed, and improve performance, to assign actions to teams and team members, to undertake unlimited assessments or check-ins and track performance over time, and to tap into central catalyst support where needed. This is when you get to real leadership culture, the leader as a self-propelled coach for their people. And the whole premise is to create a shift from high support to self-support. Of course, it means people like me talking myself out of a job, but our focus here has to be on results, not on this continual cycle of delivering training after training after training. And so on to our very last part. There is a new world out there that focuses on knowing where you are, having content that delivers impact, is memorable, drives change, but is also strategic in its approach, that gets you from high support to self-support and delivers results and ROI. So we've covered the 3 fundamentals: clarity, content, change, the 3 things you need to get right and have in place before you do anything. And we've covered long-term growth and hard results, touching on being strategic, and becoming sustainable in our approach. We have to stop thinking and believing in short-term solutions. They're sticking plasters, they aren't serving us. We need to shift towards long-term growth solutions. And we have to stop believing that you can't create transformation or get measurable results and output, hard results or ROI from developing your people. Like, it's old school thinking. But it all starts with a plan. It starts with understanding where you are now and building belief in your business that there is a new way to build capability, a way that will provide measurable outcomes and the ability to track progress and target support where it's needed. So we've covered a lot. So how do we start? So let's just recap. Let's go back to the start. We've been through everything you need to do. I've shared it all, creating clarity, the right content that gets traction, drives action, gets immediate results, drives accountability for change, and is embedded through practice and support. Training and content matters. How to ensure you get traction and drive change, and how data provides you with a measure, how data provides you with a measure of progress and points you to what you need to do next in order to grow. And then we've covered strategy. So being clear on what the end game is, using a high performing teams framework, combining it with data to allow you to focus where you need to achieve in order to achieve those goals, and how sustainability is built through internal upskilling, providing your leaders with the tools and measures to own the process, all in turn taking you from a place of getting started to becoming champions of change, whilst taking you on this journey of high support to self-support. And look, as I said, I don't think I did say it, but I'm going to say it now. My job here is not to get you to like me. I'm here to tell you the truth. If you're not investing in your people, if you are not investing in your people, this is not a sustainable option. But if you are, please stop investing in developing your people and not creating change. You're wasting your time. If you're not running programs, if you're running programs that focus on the top 5%, chances are you're not elevating standards and you're not getting to where you want to be, because you're not building strong, resilient foundations and consistent high standards. If you're not holding your people to account for leadership standards at every level and measuring progress, if you're not building progressively and strategically, and if you're not building your own capability and reducing your reliance on external providers, then you're not going to transform your business that meets the demands of the modern workforce, and you're definitely not going to achieve the outcomes and ROI you deserve when you invest in developing your people. And that's the truth. And whilst that sounds like a lot, it really is a lot easier than you think to get started. And to do that, you have to start with the key things that matter, right? So Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will be your leadership capability or your results. So what I want to share with you right now is where to start. So you start with analysis, creating clarity around where your business is right now. You create the insight, and from this, you then get to understand the work you need to do, understanding your strengths and your growth opportunities. You then build a 12-month plan, and from that, a 3-year vision. You implement and you iterate, you rinse and repeat. It's an agile process. That's how you get high-performing teams and high-performing culture. And I mentioned earlier that I would share with you how you could get started and what most businesses fail to do. So in the last, let's say 10 minutes, there's an opportunity for anyone who feels they could do with some help to get this off the ground. So whether you want help or you want to just simply know the process, that's fine too. I'm going to share with you the process, which you can take away. Or if you need some help, I can share with you how I can help. And the truth is, it all starts with data. The key to growth is to know where you are so you can do the right work based on your individual business needs. And if it's something that would help you, in the next 10 minutes, I'll be sharing exactly what you need to do and how I can help you gain clarity on exactly where you are right now, so you understand the work you need to do and make sure you build the right plan of action. Even if you don't, then you still might find this helpful. So please stay seated and listen on. But look, I've created some space in my diary this week and early next week to take calls. If you want to discuss how your business can get started, I'm going to go into more detail now. But if you'd like to think about it, there are probably around 10 slots available in my calendar over the next 5 working days. And this might be for you if you'd like me to help you build that plan and show you the sustainable process that builds your leadership capability and generates hard results on your investment in developing your people. I've opened up my calendar. I'd be very happy to take a call and to start the process to give you the clarity you need to be able to get started. And together we can establish exactly where you are and establish the best approach to this is a tongue twister, strategically drive you forward. And literally, I probably only have about 10 slots available for calls. I'm not taking any more clients at the moment in August, and I only have space for one client in September and possibly 2 or maybe even 3 in November. And for my first 3 clients who sign up as a result of this masterclass, I'm going to deliver a bonus free Kickstarter implementation workshop to help you get to a flying start by helping address a key issue that comes up in the analysis. So if you're interested in the conversation, please use the QR code or message me directly. My email is going to be at the end of this session or on LinkedIn, and I'll send you my calendar link. And together we can build a success plan that shows you where you are now, your strengths and gaps at a team level, identifies quick wins and where to focus, and show you the plan, a possible plan for the next 12 months and what that could look like based on your own data, and then how to build strategically over time, building your long-term capability and reducing your reliance on external providers. And for me, it's about trust, right? That's all this is about. You know, you'll be blown away at the level of insight and answers to questions you may have been pondering for a while. And then if you like what I share with you and how I can help, you may then choose to work with me beyond that preliminary discovery phase. So the whole point really here is to help de-risk the whole process for you. You simply start with a small piece of consulting work with me and we build the plan from there. And I'll help you build that long-term path to growth and success, to transformation, to results and return on investment. And as part of the discovery phase, you will have 1 month access to our online platform to complete all the assessments. What you'll get is pro-level personality profiling for every person at every level in your organization. This is often something only afforded to some of the more senior people in a business, but this will be available for everybody in your business. You'll get insights as to how the people and the personality types in your organization might be shaping the strengths and challenges of your business by identifying default hiring patterns, leadership styles, strengths, challenges, as well as potential risks and gaps that might also exist. We'll be covering team performance analysis. You get to determine the teams, but we provide analysis, insights, and quick wins. We assess how each team is doing at a micro level with everything you need to go away and take action. And from the data, we build your bespoke 12-month growth plan built on everything we've discovered from the initial discovery phase and from the conversations we have in a 2-hour workshop that we'll go through together. In addition to that, we'll build a 3-year strategic plan that shows you how to build a sustainable all these S's are going to be tongue-tied. A sustainable self-supporting solution and reduce your long-term reliance on external providers. Our bootcamp sessions will literally take you on a journey of discovery as we share all the findings in a 2-hour session. Our bootcamps are in high demand because what they do is they take the guesswork out of any investment you want to make in your people. And it also gives you all the tools you need to understand performance, create accountability, and deliver results, basically de-risking the whole process and getting you the results you need. We understand your people are important, so we help you to gather the right information, to understand your current capability, identify some quick wins bespoke to each team leader. And totally you get to define those teams, whether they're organizational teams as in your org structure or whether they're functional teams. We can do that too. Give you a framework, a system, a process, and all the tools needed to drive your people growth and unlock your people potential, and provide you with clarity as to what you need to do in the next 12 months to 3 years to achieve your goals, grow your people, build your capability, go from high support to self-support, and ultimately a chance for us to work together on your journey, should you choose to do so, or like literally from this point, take whatever you've got, what we deliver with plenty of quick wins, take it away and go and take action. And lastly, here's the link. Grab some time in the diary. If there isn't a slot that suits, just connect on LinkedIn or simply send me an email. I'm Jules Eustace on LinkedIn. I think most of us here are probably connected on LinkedIn. But together, look, we have to play a part in raising standards to stop wasting time and effort, to stop avoiding getting started, even to stop letting our people down, and just unleash our business potential by improving capability, creating leaders people want to work for, teams they want to be part of, and a culture they want to work for. And improve people-led KPIs. You know, the knock-on effect of all of this is about improving some of those measures that you have already in your business, whether that's engagement, retention, absence, well-being, and so much more. And look, thank you for your time. I've enjoyed being here. Now it's time to go away and take action. So what I'm going to do, though, as promised, is I'm going to just dive into some of the Q&A that we've got right here. So if you need to dash, then thank you